Hi, I'm Dawn Jones, and I'm a specialist training facilitator at Autism Plus Specialist Employment Support. Today, we're going to look at the employment journey for some neurodiverse individuals, recruitment do's and don'ts, reasonable adjustment top tips, and the support that is available for neurodiverse applicants. First, I want to introduce you to Autism Plus Employment Support and some of the things that we offer. So neurodiversity, often when this word's used, people associate it with autism, but it's not just autism. Neurodiversity represents lots and lots of neurodiverse conditions, including things such as dyspraxia, dyslexia, ADHD, some mental health conditions, and Tourette syndrome. So when we talk about neurodiversity within Autism Plus, we do support all people from all different backgrounds that have got a wide range of disabilities. Some of the positives of employing individuals who are neurodiverse is that they come along with skills such as these. So in being energetic or being committed and hyper-focused. Some neurodiverse individuals are extremely enthusiastic or knowledgeable about their specialist area. Some individuals are great communicators and strategic thinkers, leaders. They might see the bigger picture. They might be innovative. They might be problem solvers, out-of-the-box thinkers, and creative. So now we're going to look at the employment journey as a whole. So when we work with individuals across the whole of the employment journey. So some people we might start supporting when they're already established within a role, they've been there for a while and they're looking at progression. They might require support just to apply for the job and get the job that they're looking for. Once they're in the job, they might not need any support at all. So our support can really, really vary. If we look at the journey as a whole, looking at role identification, that's the part where people need to find the suitable role based on their experiences, their skills, their interests. So what we would do is we'd support an individual to find out what is suitable. So what do their skills and experience lend themselves to? And we might contact employers, we might arrange work experience or placements to help individuals to decide where they want to go. Once they've found a suitable role, then they move on to the application process. So in this area, we might be helping people to navigate through pre-screeners or support them through aptitude tests, or they might need help with application forms, or they might need help with their CV in order to help them to get to the next stage. Then with regards to interviews, we might be looking at helping them find out where the interview is or supporting with technology to enable people to access online interview stages. We might be supporting with practicing interview questions or even liaising with employers to identify any reasonable adjustments that individuals might need. The next stage is looking around the job offer. So when somebody's been offered a job, it might be that they need support to decide whether they're going to accept the job or how this is going to work. They might need help navigating the contract, or they might need support to liaise with the employer about a start date. And that would be the kind of support that we put in place at this point. The next stage around induction and training and probation, this might be where we would support individuals to be able to access the learning if they've got any extra learning difficulties or dyslexia. We might support the employer by talking about adaptations that could be made to enable somebody to be able to access the induction. Then moving on to sustained employment. So individuals that have got employment, it's about then sustaining that. So helping with regards to communication, communicating with colleagues or communicating with managers. We might offer training to the organisation to enable them to be more aware of individuals' barriers or individuals' disabilities. Or we might be there to help learn new skills in order to enable somebody to keep that employment. And then the next stage is around career progression. So this might be how we enable somebody to progress in their career. So most of our customers will start off on their journey, and then once they're settled, they'd look to move into either higher level jobs or progress into other areas. And with regards to some careers, this might mean they need to gain extra skills, they might need to learn different areas of the job role, or they might need to do extra training, and we would support in that area. So as you can see, it's quite a long journey from identifying a role that you would like into that kind of sustained employment and career progression. And as I said, we do support people at all different stages of their employment journey. So it might be that we support somebody just through the application and then they don't need support anymore. Or it might be that they come to us when they're looking for progression and they need that little bit of extra support. So recruitment processes. These kinds of words are the words that we don't want to see when we're looking at recruitment processes. So we don't want processes that are rushed, that are rigid, that are outdated, or that might be irrelevant to the job role. Some processes rely heavily on situational judgment tests or verbal reasoning tests, and that can be quite tricky for neurodiverse applicants. So it's about not removing those entirely, but maybe looking at other ways that you can score people alongside these situational judgment tests, and not using them as a way to screen initially to get the numbers down, because that might unfairly remove a candidate that actually would be an amazing addition to your team. Score-based recruitment processes, again, quite difficult to adapt a score-based process so that it's fair for all applicants, but somebody with autism might struggle with that because they might not be able to evidence their skills. And some processes are automated, so before you even get to the kind of meeting a real person, you've got a lot of automated steps to get through, which might limit the success of somebody that has got additional needs. What we want to see is recruitment processes that are adaptable, that are fair, that are relaxed, that are flexible to meet the needs of the applicants. So not just neurodiverse applicants from all kind of walks of life and all backgrounds. It's about making that recruitment process flexible. It's about being supportive and about making it accessible for all. And most importantly, making sure that that recruitment process is linked to the job role. If somebody's going for a technical role, for example, putting a lot of admin in there that maybe isn't necessary for the role is going to unnecessarily hamper somebody's chances of getting through that recruitment process. Whereas if the recruitment process absolutely mirrors potentially what skills are required for the job, that gives somebody an extra chance to succeed in that situation. So here are some do's and don'ts for employers. So do offer adaptable recruitment processes, person-centered adjustments. So this might be things such as the questions up front. Doesn't have to be days in front. It might be that you give the questions half an hour before. And what that does is it enables somebody to be able to just take away a lot of anxiety and just maybe plan what they might say in this situation. And that might improve interviews for everybody, not just the individual that's got additional needs. You can make that a fair process for everybody, because after all, what you want to see in an interview is somebody at their best, not somebody that is anxious, because once they're in the workplace, hopefully they won't be as anxious as they are in the interview. Try not to ask abstract questions. Lots of interviews that I've seen have got icebreakers or things that seem like a really fun question, such as what superpower would you have, or if you were a biscuit, what biscuit would you be? And then they're scored on how they describe why they've picked that biscuit. And it's a fun question, but for somebody who's neurodiverse, that might be quite a tricky question, because they're coming to you prepared for cybersecurity questions or information security questions, and then they're being asked about something that's completely irrelevant in their opinion. So try and avoid any abstract questions, or make sure it's clear that the question is an icebreaker style question. Do try and give as much information as possible before the interview, such as how long you expect the interview to take, sorry. What questions are you going to ask, in the sense of, is it 30 minutes of questions and then a test? Try and give as much information as possible. Give the names of the individuals that are going to be on the panel. You might want to provide a picture of the people that are going to be on the panel if you feel comfortable with that. That kind of information will reduce the anxiety that somebody has when walking into a new situation. Try to avoid asking for skills that are not necessary for the job, such as things like excellent verbal skills, when the job actually contains minimal verbal communication, or it could be adapted to suit the needs of the individual. A lot of job adverts say excellent communication skills, and actually for somebody who's got autism, they might view that they don't have great communication skills because that's actually one of their barriers, and that might deter somebody from applying for your job, who again might be fabulous in that role, but doesn't feel like they can meet the criteria, so then doesn't apply. Ask for more information if you need it. So if somebody answers a question and you haven't got quite what you needed, then ask for more information. Give somebody the opportunity to explain, because it might be that the question wasn't clear enough, or the question didn't make it seem like you needed quite a lot of information. So do ask for that if you need it. And try not to judge the lack of eye contact as a lack of confidence or a lack of ability in a role. Sometimes people who are neurodiverse struggle with eye contact, and actually they might be very proficient workers, they might be very, very skilled, but eye contact is something that they struggle with. So try not to use eye contact as a reason to discount somebody from a role. As an applicant, make sure you do ask for reasonable adjustments if you need them. Don't be put off from doing that. Don't worry about what the employer might think. Give yourself the chance to do the best you can in an interview by asking for those adjustments if you need them. Try not to assume that the employer will know what adjustment you need. You might be the first person with a disability that's applied into a role, so it's about making sure that you support the employer as much as the employer supports you. Ask for more information about a role if you are unclear about what it entails. So if you're looking at it and thinking, I'm not sure what this is, then ask for more information. There is nothing wrong with having an informal chat before an interview. Try not to send lots of emails. If you've got lots of questions, then be prepared, put a list together, and then contact the employer. It might be via email, it might be via call, but just make sure that you make one very well prepared conversation rather than lots of little conversations, as the interview starts really from the first impression. So first impressions count. If you are sending an email, make sure that it's formal, make sure that the grammar and the spelling is correct. Just be careful with what you're sending, because remember, first impressions. Do prepare for an interview. Even if you know the company, even if you've done work experience at the company, make sure that you prepare for the role. Research the role, research the company, and practice using any technology that might be needed for the interview to make sure that there aren't any mishaps on the day. And always make sure that you are honest. In an interview, it's really important to be honest, because if you tell any lies and then you get the job, then you'll be found out very, very quickly. So honesty is always the best policy. If you're applying for a role and you don't have all the skills required, then say that in the interview, but explain how you would learn those skills or how you would plan to gain those skills. Reasonable adjustments. Now, the Equality Act 2010 requires an employer to make reasonable adjustments to enable a disabled person to work. Now, a reasonable adjustment is a change to remove or reduce the effect of an employee's disability so they can do their job. For example, if somebody was in a wheelchair and they applied for a role in your organisation, but you worked on the 3rd floor, then it's about looking at what adjustments could be made so that person had a fair chance in that role as somebody that could use the stairs. And it's the same for hidden disabilities. So it's about looking at what can be changed. But it's really important that the changes are based on the individual. Not all adjustments will be appropriate. So there isn't a guideline that says if somebody's got autism or if somebody's got ADHD, then these are the adjustments you must make. What you need to do is have a conversation with the applicant or a conversation with the employee to identify what would help that person. But also it needs to be reasonable. So it isn't about going out and doing a massive change. It could be something really, really small, such as changing the colour of the paper that the application is on, or helping somebody to fill in an application verbally. They might be very little adjustments that will have a really big impact on the individual that's being supported. So some more examples of reasonable adjustments might include the introduction of a mentor or a buddy. And this might be somebody internal of the organisation, or it might be somebody external that's a specialist, such as our team. Flexible working hours might be a reasonable adjustment. Again, that it depends on the job, it depends on the situation. If there's no way that somebody can work at a weekend because everything's closed and they would be unable to do the job, then an employer is within their rights to say, we can do flexible working, but it needs to be between Monday and Friday. So just be mindful of that when we're discussing reasonable adjustments, that it's meant to be reasonable for the employee, but also the employer. Another example might be an adaptation to the environment, or sensory reducing equipment such as earphones or ear defenders, or avoiding unexpected last-minute tasks. If somebody struggles with dealing with last-minute tasks, it might be that you have to schedule those in. An adjustment to uniform might be a reasonable adjustment for somebody who struggles with certain fabrics or certain textures. There might be access to a quiet space if somebody requires a quiet space to work at certain times. There might be the option of a reduced working hours or a 4-day week to enable somebody to have enough rest to be able to get ready for the next week. So people sometimes who are neurodiverse need a little bit of rest time in order to get ready for the full working week. This might be where the working hours slightly change. Or if somebody really struggles to adapt to working in different areas of the office, then it might be that somebody gets access to their own desk rather than hot desking. So these are just a few examples, but it's about being flexible and being open-minded about the reasonable adjustments that could be put in place. As an employee, how would you request reasonable adjustments? Then make sure you read all correspondence. So if you've got an interview, usually there is information about how to request reasonable adjustments. There might be an email address for HR, or there might be an email address for the hiring manager. So give all that a read to see if it gives you any ideas. If not, you might need to contact the recruitment team, or you might need to speak to the HR team to talk about reasonable adjustments for the application or for the interview process. Do this as soon as possible. So don't hold off, because what you want to do is give the employer enough time to make adaptations to the interview, or maybe undertake a workplace assessment if you're already in the workplace. So try and do this as soon as you can to enable the employer to be able to make those changes. If you're already employed, if you're in a job already, or if you've started an apprenticeship, then arrange a meeting with your manager or with HR or with the occupational health team to discuss reasonable adjustments. They might be able to do an assessment to identify what adjustments you need. Or if you need any additional guidance with regards to reasonable adjustments, then you can always contact Autism Plus Employment Team or any other organisations that support with individuals that are neurodiverse. So how can we help? So some common questions that we get is what support is out there? Well, Autism Plus Specialist Employment Support, we deliver a wide range of support to individuals. So we do offer support for neurodiverse job seekers. Now we have little contracts, but we do have, if there is isn't funding available, then there is an option to self-fund this. So it's always worth having the free initial consultation to find out if you're eligible, to find out if there is any funding available, and if not, to identify what support you might need to help get you into employment. And it's worth mentioning that this support is available across the whole of the UK, and we can offer this remotely. The in-work support that we offer is funded through Access to Work, and this is in-work support for individuals, but also for employers as well. And within that, we can offer the mentoring support for individuals. So that's around reassurance and guidance. It's weekly, and we understand that especially in the cybersecurity industry, we can't always come into the workplace due to confidentiality. So what we would do is we would offer remote support, because our support is around confidence building, it's around communication rather than about the job itself. So it's more about building those soft skills rather than the skills that are there for the job. And we also support the employers with regards to disability training, support and guidance to ensure that we are working holistically for the individual and getting the best support there available. And again, this is available across the whole of the UK remotely. Alongside that in-work support, we are also offering apprenticeship support. So if you have looked at apprenticeships today and you're thinking of going into an apprenticeship, what we offer is specialist support that we will liaise with the college or the provider, and we'll also liaise with the manager or your employer to enable you to have the support that you need to achieve your apprenticeship. So that might be around your workplace skills, or it might be to help you manage your apprenticeship work, to prioritize that work and make sure that you are hitting all of your targets, and make sure that we're all working collaboratively to give you the best support that you need. So it's very much to help you with your barriers and reduce those barriers. And it also includes this funded workplace training for employers as well. And also that can include your assessor if your assessor wants that extra additional learning support. So that's slightly different from the in-work support, as we have qualified teachers that do help with this, that can really help you to have that positive outcome from your apprenticeship. Another question that we get is it expensive and who pays for the support? And as I said, Access to Work will pay for the in-work support. We would apply for Access to Work to get that funding to try and help you to start work or stay in work. And we would look at that for if you're in the workplace. So once you get a successful job offer, we can look at Access to Work funding to get you the support that you need. And no matter the size of the organisation, there is no funding, there's no contribution from the employer for the support element of this. And we have got this booklet available to view and download from our booth as well if you want to take a look at that. So can an employer refuse the support, or will my employer think I can't do my job? Well, hopefully not. Hopefully, we are now in a world where employers are wanting to support individuals with disabilities and can see the absolute benefit of having creative individuals in their organisations. So hopefully we would be at a point where we could talk to the employer and the employer would see that actually it's a benefit to have that support in place for yourselves, and a benefit. And rather than thinking that you can't do the job, it might just be that you temporarily need this support while you're at a certain part of this journey, like we said earlier, on the employment journey. So hopefully we can speak to those employers and speak to yourselves and reassure everybody that we're here to support and to help to improve your abilities and improve your offer in the workplace. Ah! I was at the end and my bloody video didn't work. Ah! I know, I'm so pissed off. I don't know whether I can't edit it, I don't think either. Do I keep going and try and edit it? And this booklet is available to view and download from our booth if you want to take a look at it. So another common question is, can an employer refuse the support, or will your employer think that you can't do your job? Well, the answer for us is hopefully not. Hopefully in the current climate, people will see the real benefit to having neurodiverse individuals in their workplace, and absolutely see the benefit of the support that we can offer to enable individuals to achieve their potential. So, and that's just across the whole journey. So not just looking at the interview process, but looking at somebody that's already in employment that maybe is looking to advance their career. And as I said before, we're kind of not there to help with the cybersecurity side. We're there to help with all the other skills. So maybe the communication, the confidence building, prioritizing, motivation, and things like that. So there is no need for us really to be involved with the cybersecurity side, unless it's something that you really, really want us to support with. So if you want any further information, please visit our booth at the event and talk to somebody from our specialist team. Or if you want to make any inquiries, then please contact Suzanne Newsman or myself if it's regarding training. Or you can check out our website as well. But I hope you've enjoyed the video and I look forward to meeting you at the event.